Okay, ladies and gents, welcome, welcome. We've got the final best of 5 in the third round of TTL. TTL Silver, that is. The winner here will move on to face Uzi in a decider to see who makes it in the Gold League. So I said it when I announced it. Sure, everyone who paid attention to the details knew it. Things were going to fly by. There have been tons of games, right? Like dozens of sets every single week to get to this point. We've got Nili playing as the Berbers here in the red. And Nili's up against Cello and Argentinian in the blue. And actually, I'm actually kind of liking the flags. Oh, God. This is... Okay, it's all right. I think the flags look really nice. Maybe I'll switch back eventually away from the flags. I can't promise to use this consistently every single series for every single set. But I think especially during TTL, when we've got lesser-known players, I think it's good to know where people are coming from. Plus, it just, yeah, it looks real nice there. Thank you, Capture. So anyways, Nili's playing Berbers versus Mayans here. Berbers was not a civ I was necessarily expecting. You've seen a lot of other civilizations preferred, excuse me. Mayans, though, a civilization that is pretty common on this. And for Cello, he's got a pretty good map. Could wall to the edge here. Does have another wood line here. Gold could be a little bit accessible from range units here, but Berbers don't typically do that. Nili's base could be amazing if he gets the full wall down, but he's got a lot more work to do. Again, it would have to be a full wall instead of some small walling. In terms of the sheep war, lots of RNG and luck involved in this. Right now, it's looking like advantage Nili. Both players sent their scouts to the middle right away. And Nili was able to snag some extra sheep. I could see Nili opening scouts here. It's the first game of the series. It feels like opening scouts would make a lot of sense with this civilization that relies so heavily on their stable units. But for the Mayans, it's going to be more along the lines of probably just getting the walls down and then adapting from there. But usually it's archers from them. As we see Cello take the boar here. So Cello, one of many Argentinian players in this bracket that have looked really strong. And I haven't had discussions with him on who he's training with, but like we had, this is just off the top of my head, and I'm probably missing some, but I'm pretty sure we had like 10 from round 2 onwards, and maybe more. But even in round 3, like we had monos in round 3. I think he even knocked out an Argentinian in round 2. Argentinian showdown there. We had Beery in round 3. Now we've Cello in round 3. And, there's just so many. And then there's Deeker, who's going to be in the deciders, which is essentially round 4. And he'll be up against Stark. That'll be a nice little Brazil versus Argentina match, too. That'll be hotly contested, I'm sure. But yeah, the players came to play. I was knocked out by Cello, and I could tell that he knew what he was up to, and he had played some practice games. You can just tell. Cello going to bring in his board out and just going to plan on walling this area up right now. And he is not planning on early barracks anyways. He would have done that already. I actually hate these berries. The line of berries is the worst type of berries because your villagers will walk around. The small thing to get annoyed by, but it does affect the efficiency. All right, Nili. Going to be clicking up here shortly. Why does he not have food right now? Did Nili shoot his boar with his TC? This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I just, you assume things as a caster. Hold on, let me look at this. Okay, so he ate that boar. Okay, so that was fine, right? Can I go back, guys? I apologize. Let me look. Boar from before. No, he didn't. Okay, so something was just up there. I think he should have been able to click up at a pretty decent population. But maybe I just kind of misjudged the situation here myself. He's going to go up at 19 pop. Okay, 19 pop's actually fine. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything, and he's going to have food from the sheep. Would love to see a second lumber camp on this woodline from Nili. This is going to incur a lot of bumping. But the build order he's going for, usually you're just on one lumber camp. And first game of this series, Nili's going to find the golds here for Cello. And Cello is just taking his time here. He too is actually struggling for the food a little bit. It's interesting. And deer's going to run back on him too, which is kind of annoying. But he can fix that by hitting the deer. Push the deer in towards the TC. And bam. There you go. All right. But I don't think Man-at-Arms would necessarily be that quick here compared to what you would normally do. But Mayans do start with minus 50 food. So that's why you tend to see players open with archers a lot more often with Mayans. They do start with the additional Vil, but you're normally about like 30, 40 seconds behind clicking up to feudal age compared to most civilizations with a similar build order. Still, again, though, like you don't know what your opponent's going for. It's the first game of the series. You might want to open pretty strong here, and he's going to add the militia. And Nili's feudal already. Adds the stable, adds some walls. We'll have sheep to work with for a while, so won't need to rely on farms. Gets the horse color upgrade anyways. Sees the walls from his opponent. Sees his opponent now is going for the militia. And what you don't want to run into if you're Chelo is you don't want to run into 4 scouts with 3 man-at-arms. Cello right now doesn't even know where Nili is, but you kind of feel vulnerable with your eagle when there's few scouts out there anyways. But you should be getting the walls down here. It's a fast uptime from your opponent. It's probably going to be scouts. He actually decides to cancel the idea of man-at-arms, or he didn't cancel. I don't know if you can cancel an idea. He changes his thought process. And he's not going to go man-at-arms here, and those 2 militia will unfortunately just kind of be a waste for him. Cello will find Nili, sees the stable. And Nili will know it's just 2 militia, might not even expect man-at-arms at this point. And this is Ghost Lake, guys. It's a very closed map. You don't see a ton of aggression. Nili quickly going to add an archer range, though, expecting there to be fast archers here. There's actually not. Oh, there is going to be a range, excuse me, from Cello. But just delayed. Just economy. And so, here's my worry if I'm Cello. The last thing I want is I do not want to sit in my base and not have army control against a civilization that has cheap knights with a gold like this, right? Like, from what Nili can see, this is just the perfect position. You see the golds, you see the wood, right? He might be on this wood for all you know, but anyways, this is a position for a siege workshop. So I think you do have to build up towards archers and spearmen here, and potentially eagles if Nili ends up making scouts. The eagle from Cello was unable to notice the range from Nili, so he doesn't actually know that Nili's going to end up going for that. But it is fairly common to see players just mix in an eagle with their spearmen right now, and Nili's going to take some hits. And Cello backs away. Well played. Okay, he sees the range now. That's really big for him, because he's going to know his opponent will have skirms now. So he can't just move out with the archers. He would need to have eagles. Eagles take a bit to produce, but you just take your time. And what do you guys think about the golds here? If you had to choose one player's golds, what would you choose? I think I would choose Cello's. Because it's walled. It's protected. This, Nili was hesitant to try and full wall it because, you know, there could have been man-at-arms. There could have been aggression that came in. I think in the long term, Nili's might be better. Like, if this becomes a boom game because he's got this. But the fact that you're currently walled right now and you cannot take damage on your gold is really valuable. You prefer Nili? Got it. Cello cancels the eagle for some reason. I feel like... And now he's going to make the eagle... Oh, no, he's going to cancel the eagle again. I guess he just wants fast castle age here. Okay. Scouts going in. Hello, Catherine. Welcome. Saying hi to you 50% because you said hello to me, but 50% because someone responded to you and said he probably won't answer. And wow, lots of skirms from Nili. As he's just going to shift over to this gold. That's probably the safer play. Feel like eagles would be really good here for Cello, but maybe he wants to wait to produce them till later on. As of now, though, 5 archers, that could, in theory, go forward and run in towards Nili's base, but obviously extremely risky to do that. If he runs in here with the eagle, though, he doesn't see any more skirms, and he sees the golds being taken there, I could see him being tempted to try it. Market's going up for Cello. Casual little house walls here. We'll probably just buy some food. And he's going to click up to Castle Age well before Nili. And then Nili just figures, screw the walls. I'm just going to make an outpost here. And outpost will go up. So now if there is a sneak, he'll know about it. And I think Chelo probably shouldn't. Because Nili will see the eagle, right? You see the eagle and you know, okay, why is he checking this? Nili also just did a quick little double check on that range to see if there were still flags there. All right, so what I like about Nili's position is he's forced the Mayan player away from archers. What I don't like about Nili's position is that he's later to Castle Age here. But he hasn't lost a unit. Skirmishers are slowly killing villagers. This is not easy work for Chelo. It's super annoying. And Chelo's actually going to lose a villager to this now. Not to mention he ejects with an eagle when there's only one of them there, which could have led to actually losing that eagle against Nili's scouts, depending on how Nili played it. Here come the archers. Here come the eagles. Sorry, just laughing at something I'm not sure I should share. And Nili is well aware that this could be problematic, so he's going to house wall now towards the TC-ish. So he's going to... I guess it's not ideal, right? But it's still so open, he's going to try and wall here over time. And meanwhile, Chelo, he's actually really struggling for gold, but I think he could just sell food for it, right? Can you imagine, though, if there was 4 eagles? 4 eagles instead of 2? You could engage against this in early castle. And then you could... Or you could do more damage here. I think you could still take Nili off of gold, though. Chelo loses another villager on his gold. Just did not want to make those eagles. Goes for crossbow, goes for bodkin. It will only have 9 archers. And he's really struggling without gold at the moment. These villagers are very weak as he'll drop the second town center. But here he comes. And while he lost 2 villagers, he will definitely recuperate from that because he's going to have or recover from that. Could lose another, but nope, saves it. And now Nili's completely off of gold. Chelo's got some really nice damage in with low numbers of units, and Nili now loses a villager as well. Nervy times for Nili. So both players have had gold problems. This is kind of what I meant, though, right? I think Nili could have committed more to walling this, or he could have towered it, but honestly, I think it's the first game. Nili realizes how aggressive he needs to play this with his Civ. So sometimes if you focus on playing too defensive, you find yourself in a boom war, and I don't think you want an economic battle up against the Mayans. Nili really stubborn here as he's going to get elite skirm and bodkin arrow, which is not going to be a unit that Chelo really has an easy answer to because he only has 2 eagles. Chat is interesting today. Chat is really interesting today. Maybe I'm just paying too much attention to you guys. Someone said, what was it? Come on, Chelo, only because a German woman skipped the ice cream queue yesterday, so I blame Nili. Ice cream queue? I guess you maybe went to, like, an ice cream place. Dude, I would love some ice cream right now, actually. It's really hot here. Never mind. Judgment's gone. Okay, important TC for Chelo, because this gold's been a pain. He's recovered. He actually has the villager lead right now. He will have some big army problems, though, but he needs gold. And so it seems to me like he's going to be able to complete that TC in time. Next natural move would probably be a siege workshop. But guys, if Nili had just kept an eye on that gold, he would have... I think he easily wins this game. He's killed so many crossbows there. Wasteful from Chelo. There would have been no gold income for the Mayan player. There's not much you can do without gold if you're Mezzo. Nili will be kicking himself for that. Sees the TC is up. Chelo probably kicking himself for losing so many archers here, but eagles can't be on his mind anymore. Here, 2 more crossbows forgotten about. They get pulled to the side. The food in Wood Eco is really good, though, for Chelo. It's hard for Nili. Siege Workshop would make sense on the front on any other map, but it's really hard to do that. Well, you really can't do it on Ghost Lake because of the ice. You can't build on the ice. Let's see. 3 TCs. So Nili's in a good spot economically. You could always mix in knights against the siege. But then there's TC fire to worry about, right? I like how many skirms Nili made. Like, he's really made a lot of army. The difference between the two has been that Nili has put his foot on the gas in terms of army production. But it's all skirms. And, like, he's one bad shot away from losing all of these skirms, especially when they're stacked like that. Kind of stresses me out. Mangonel will pop soon. I'm sure Nili expects it because he knows there's a siege workshop. But the gold income has been much lower than Chelo would have wanted here. Here's Nili. Does he see this? He sees it. So now he's probably not able to camp on the gold as much. I like how he did, though, because it actually... Excuse me, forgive me. It actually has prevented Chelo from producing as much army here. So he thought it would be cheap knights from the Berbers. Oh, no! That's horrible for Nili. Oh, my God. And it goes from bad to worse. Oh, disaster. Oh, my goodness. He lost so many skirms. I was just going to say, we thought it would be cheap knights. I mean, no better reason to just switch away from skirms and maybe mix in some knights now. Oh, just brutal to have control over the whole game for so long. And now, oh, God. Now he's losing units everywhere. This is nice, though. This knight's going to get in, and Chelo's going to be annoyed by that. And Chelo still doesn't have a big army count. He's not producing crossbowmen consistently. But now you have an invitation to, right? Because Mangonel crossbow seems like it could really work. Nili's going to be making knights. Nili's going to be making skirms. Nili has ballistics on the way, and his units are still headed forward towards that open area. Chelo is like... I don't know if he's playing arena, but he just doesn't like army. I think he lacks confidence in all of his options right now. I think he lacks confidence in crossbowmen because they're skirms, and he lacks confidence in eagles because he doesn't have any of them right now, and his opponent's going to go knights. So instead, his thinking is, I will just go imp, which is basically very greedy, and then in imp, my crossbow number could kill everything. We have two polar opposite decisions. Nili will be adding more army. You see more production buildings now. Nili also will have a side siege workshop to pressure. And this is... Chelo's really going to have his work cut out for him here. This is really going to show us the quality that he has. Because if we're talking a top 10 player, they probably can micro. And they can hold. And then they are in imp. And then they'll eventually win with Arbalest. But these players are looking to get into that 25 to 48 category by winning here and then winning in the next round. And on paper, both players are also going to be the underdog in their next series, I think, anyways. Against Uzi. And that is confirmed at this point, too. So this should be fun. Nili's lost army. He was on the wrong end of a really big highlight, but he's making lots of army. 13 skirmishers he's got. He's got 5 knights with more on the way. And he must feel something's up because he's not seeing the numbers from Chelo. Chelo's on the way right now. Nili can see this wood line. And he also can see this gold. He also can see the TC. He's kind of got army everywhere right now. And he's waiting to pounce. Only 9 crossbows for Chelo at the moment. But can he do this? I mean, the Viscount's not bad. More stables for Nili. Nili loves his relics, so I'm sure he's going to get more of them over time. Scouting the rest of the map. Nili will pop out there and trade 1 for 1. Not really what he's looking for. I'm just shocked we haven't seen +2 armor yet from Nili, because with +2 armor, he could make a dive against all of this quite easily. I think he could actually still take a good fight if he dives now. Might see him force a fight before +2 armor in the event he sees in from his opponent, and he's going to get the kills! Chelo has not made life easy for himself here, has he? I think he got hit here at the same time, actually. That's definitely what happened. He got hit here at the same time. So he had a really tough time reacting properly here. Does have 4 ranges now and will have the resources for Bracer. But he's committed now. You hope that you can make enough Arbalest to kill everything. And with enough micro and enough Arbs, you can. I think 30 Arbalest with chemistry, Bracer, and all that stuff can micro down everything Nili's making right now. I genuinely believe it. But he doesn't have the resources for everything. And he can't get to 30. He's going to have Bracer. And he's going to have Arbs. And for Nili, you just make more army. and continue to pressure as much as possible here. Nili has been let loose with production at the moment. And he knows how dangerous it is to be up against Arbalest. And all the upgrades I mentioned, Chelo's getting. And it's Mayan archers, dude. Like, guys, he could continue to produce these things, even with the limited gold income he has. Look how fast the skirmishers die once these upgrades are in. He's now 30 vils behind, which really hurts. But this will get interesting if he ever gets over to Nili's base. I love, though, how Nili's on stone, and he's planning for a defensive castle. And I love how he's trying to raid as well, right? So, applying pressure here. Killed quite a few villagers, actually, and is denied the wood on both sides. And Chelo's doing the right thing. Chelo needs a counterattack. You cannot just stay at home right now with your arbs. All the new arbs you create can try and put out those fires. This is your killing army. I think Nili knows that, though, right? Panic Castle is needed here, for sure. And remember, all your golds are here, so I think you need the castle next to your TC. Everything dies to this Arbalest army. Nili's still on the golds. Nili's still on the wood. Nili's still on the wood. Arbalest army is the focus. Nili's making Genitors! Ooh, Genitors. They could add a little bit more, maybe, to getting close to the Arbs. God, Mayans are stupid. The fact that he could play this passive this whole time, and then Arbalest is able to get the job done is wild. He's barely had resources, it feels like. But he's got 30 Arbs. You do need some level of patience here if you're Nili, but also at the same time, you want to hit your opponent before this mass gets larger. It's really hard to judge these situations. He's losing his army at Chelo's base at the moment. He's not really saving his vills either. Oh god, he's going to drop a castle there. Oh no, Nili's lost the score lead. The Chelo played so incredibly greedy, but you understand it now. He's going to see the castle. Now you have a decision to make. Do you deny the castle or do you save your army by trying to kill the Genitors? I think you have to save your army. Maybe a mix of both, which is kind of what he's done, right? It's just because the damage output from Arbs is 10 now, and the Pierce Armor on Skirms and Genitors and Castle Age is 6. So they're taking 4 damage a hit. Good work overall from Chelo, though. And good work from Nili, who's just been sitting randomly on the gold still. But I still think he'll lose those units to Arbs. The problem for Chelo is he doesn't have relics. And he's just still got random armies everywhere. It's so very difficult to micro this army and deal with everything else that's happening. And Nili is genuinely going to commit towards full Genitor here. But I don't know if it's going to work. This is so funny how this Mangonel is almost going to take out a market here. Army count is 40 for Nili. It is 21 for Chelo. Nili can afford to make more. Nili has chosen to stay in Castle Age just to make sure he doesn't die. If he gets one more good engagement, then he could probably consider heading up towards him. Let's see. I actually think he's misplaying with the Genitors because he's looking at this. I think what would be the correct play is to actually run in close because they're so fast. You click past them, get next to them, and then kill them. But he's looking here, guys. He's still paying attention here. He's getting a relic. Classic Nili. And Chelo's push looked like it could maybe have done something for a time. But he's only at 24 crossbowmen. And he's still got Nili units randomly spread throughout the map that he has to address. So Nili can click up to Imp. And if Nili makes it to the Imperial Age without taking significant losses, he's going to be in an amazing position. I really like the Genitor decision over the Elite Skirm. They have so much more HP on them. And he had the economy to be able to make it. Didn't open with Genitor because it was kind of costly at that point to consider that. But a mounted skirmisher unit that's unique to the Berbers, getting the job done here, and still just 25 army for Chelo. Just 25 army, losing eco. Castle's going up from Nili to secure the map. He's got 4 relics. Might even be getting the 5th one at some point soon. And even if Chelo gets to like 30, 40, 50 Arbalest now, Nili will have Imperial Age upgrades. And then Chelo will have to make a tech switch. And Chelo would have to switch into something like Eagles, right? And then his golds are incredibly exposed. Nili's just going to fall back for the time being. I would go Hussar, Genitor. Weirdly enough, if I saw Eagles, I think I would maybe consider then going for Cavalier, but... Yeah, Nili's going to clear this up. Look at that Monk. He was on the way to get the Relic, and he's going to help out here, too. 114 pop for Cello, 160 population for the German. I guess even if you don't jump on top of these Arbs, the Genitors are fast enough where even if you've just patrolled them, they're still catching up to the Arbs pretty easily. That's really nice. Also, just, I love things like this, right? Like small, annoying raids. Like outposting across the map. Both players could maybe have done a better job at that. But yeah, I think this game's over. And Nili will take the first game. Assuming he can close it out with these Imperial Age upgrades. I've seen players call it over less in Cello's position. And yet, Cello calls the GG. Okay, so... bit of a weird situation here. I did know the result for this particular game because this series was supposed to be played yesterday. They played the first game. There was lags and drops. They then played the second game. And I was told later on, after the game concluded, that there was also lag for Cello, apparently. So they decided to play the rest today due to servers acting up. And the servers have been acting up over the last month. So, as far as the rest of the series goes, obviously everything's going to be played live. But yeah, that was a really good game from Nili. Honestly, I think if Cello just made a little bit more army, he would have been completely fine. I just think it was too greedy, and Nili was able to pick him apart because of it. We'll see what happens to the rest. All right, guys, welcome to game number 2 between Cello and Nili. And I was just saying, I think as far as the civs lineup and everything, has to be a bounce-back game here for Cello. Cello's gone for the Khmer, and the map is Kilimanjaro, one of his home maps. So we've got Nili playing as the Portuguese. Both civs are strong. I think Portuguese have more potential overall as a civilization. But Khmer, man, if you play openly and you play aggressive with them, or not even play openly with them, because we're definitely going to see walls here, but if you commit heavily to scouts and a lot of wood and food eco, it could be a really dangerous civ to be up against. Because yes, Portuguese do have the cheaper gold units, so this goes into knights for them. They can do that, monks, crossbows. But this is a very open map, and something that the Khmer do very well is they can thrive when it's messy, because you don't need to focus too heavily on your farm positions to have a lot of reward, right? You can place your farms anywhere. It's perfect civ for me. Actually is top 3 for me in terms of my win rate, which is a little embarrassing. But yeah, it is genuinely good for players who want to be aggressive, focus more on the attack and less on their farm placement. Wood here has 150 wood per tree, so these tiny little wood lines will last a little bit longer. And I really like the base layout here for Cello as far as Kilimanjaro is concerned. The deer situation's awkward for him, or ostrich, but everything else is still looking pretty good, I think. You could wall in this direction. Berries are directly on the back. He's got gold here as well. I could easily see the walls forming. And while we do see aggression on this map, players are usually playing quite safe because you're far away from the enemy and they're getting the walls down. But that's a skill element to this map. Timing that and making sure that everything's protected before you move out. Now, Nili's actually gone for the mill first, which is a fun little build with the Portuguese. Most players aren't doing that these days. But I was shown actually by I think a 1500 player that you could perform a 17 pop scout rush off of the mill with eco upgrades with the Portuguese. Now, I have not executed that in like 6 or 7 months now, but at one point, someone was like, hey, try this. And I watched it. It was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Because basically you go 4 on berries early, and you should have enough wood for a lumber camp right before you want to go feudal. So Nili's probably just going to focus heavily on food so he can get a good feudal time. And, you know, things aren't maybe as clean as he would want. The ostrich probably he wanted closer to the TC, but everything's fine. Sorry, Sam. Fish trapping isn't really an option here. It takes too long for the payoff. You would have to make the dock, which is 150 wood investment. And from there, you'd have to make the fishing ship, which is 70 wood investment. Then you need the fish trap, which is 100 wood investment. And all that wood could be put into other things, which would just simply be put towards paying off earlier and killing you faster. We did have a player try fish traps in the past. His name was Samaro. He did qualify for gold in Season 2. And this is the Season 2 map pool we're using. He died every time he tried it. But he did try it, and it was at least close. And I really appreciated it. I just don't know if it was really the best of ideas. Okay, so Cello. Is he going to go 20 pop here? Interesting stuff. Just walling up and playing safe for the time being. Yeah, and he's going to go 20 pop. Which is pretty late as far as Khmer is concerned. Normally, Khmer going for 17 pop or 18 pop. Something along those lines. Okay, so neither player has placed a mill on their shorefish. Something I'm a big fan of. From here, it doesn't really make sense to do it right now because you have the sheep. But you could maybe do it later on. I doubt Cello will do it, though, because Cello's going for a bunch of tiny walls here. He does not want Nili to be able to do anything to him. And this is expected. Virtually every single game I've seen on this map has been Scout War. But it has been Scout War into lots of walls. I think Nili actually needs to make sure he doesn't get trapped in here. But he might be tempted to try and see what his opponent has out here. And yeah, he does the right thing and he leaves. So he doesn't get his scout trapped in. Seems like things should be pretty clean as far as the timings are concerned for Nili. I would like to see him get the most out of his building placement, though. And place his stable here, maybe. And work his way around that gold. Nili now in feudal. Cello will be right behind him. Cello did do a ring around Nili's base. And again, Nili's gold being forward could be really awkward for him here. And I kind of feel like he should have factored that in with his building placement a little bit more. Just building the barracks and the stable a bit further out could have helped a lot. Oh, Nili's waiting in Discord. Thank you, Ozone. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, guys. This is weird. Got it. So basically what happened, guys, was they started the game. This series has been something else. They started the game without spectators, and I tried to contact them all in every way I could, and they just played the entire game. So then I made the decision. I don't know why Nili's making the decision to take that fight, but I said, okay, well, we can't have them play the third game live, because if they play the third game live, it's like people are going to watch the third game before seeing the second game. I don't want people to see the third game before seeing the second game. So I'm having them play the next game privately. And then they just give me the recorded game as they move on to the next game. So that's the plan. So I'm sure with how everything has gone with this series, that there will be one more thing that is going to make this series be a problem from an admin standpoint. But I'm hoping that we see good quality with the games. Okay, so Nili does wall using his gold. And he actually didn't lose his weak scout, which is very nice work from him. And Cello doesn't even add a stable here. Well, that's pretty interesting. He will garrison his TC, though. He tries to kill Nili's scout, but Nili's now got 4 scouts on the field because he created 1 more. And he doesn't see anything behind these walls. It's just going to be full economy for Cello. So, I'm going to be honest. I don't love it, but on this map, I think it can make some sense just to get into knights a little bit faster. Nili basically has decision time with how he spends his resources right now. Because he might think my opponent's walled, and if my opponent's walled, I should go for archers. But then, even just the archer range is 175 wood, which means you don't have 3 farms, right? So, and that alone, when you already know your opponent's not spending as much food and their Khmer, it kind of makes you lean against trying that. Did you see that from Cello, though? Look at this move. This is actually a sick move. Okay, so here we have blue, right? And blue knows this scout is 1 hit away from death. I can do this. And so blue, with no army whatsoever, hops out of the house, bops the scout, and then comes back. That's awesome. I probably don't want to try that again because these scouts are a little bit stronger, but that was a really quick play. And that scout could be useful. I was just going to say Nili's a player who really would love to have the leftover scouts because he wants to scout the rest of the map. He'll likely try and, look where these relics are. But the main focus on this map is normally this hill. There's a lot of wood, but it's the stone and gold, and it's so much easier to play with control of this hill. I really like Chelo's decision right now. And it's not a bad decision from Nili to go scouts, but he might be regretting making as many as he has here. And he may feel a lot of pressure up against the no army strategy to rush to Castle Age and maybe even use the market to do so. I could definitely see Nili choosing to even sell his stone here. Do we have it happen again? What happened here? There was an attack noise. I think that was just Chelo getting attacked. So I know that seeing other resources on this map isn't as big as on other maps, but I personally would like to see Nili take the weak scout and send it elsewhere. Like, scout the corners, look for other wood lines and golds that you could go to later. But this, so far, seems completely fine. We're going to see Chelo going for a stable. This will definitely be for knights. And Nili just says, screw it. I can't boom against the Khmer. This is not going to be possible for me. So instead, I'm going to stay on one town center here. I'm going to sell all that stone, and that just helps me get to Castle Age faster. Nili's using the full HP scout, looking to see if Chelo's going to have anything here. And you have to be thorough with this stuff, right? And he is going to be. And he sees the stable. Now, no scouts for Chelo. I personally am a big fan of making a scout or two here. I guess one, because you don't want to make two, because then you'll be in Castle Age and want to be making knights. But knowing if Nili's going to be doing anything on this hill could be really valuable. Monks will probably come out if it's a night war, and having some scouts can be valuable there too. But who knows if Chelo even wants to do that. I could still see him dropping a second TC. And this seems like a nice little spot for it. Nili again just going to sit here and attack the stable. Knight's going to come out though. Nili actually pre-walling in this villager? Because that's probably for a siege workshop or a monastery. Wow, crazy boom decision here from Chelo. Nili's just going to be one stable. He's going to add a spear or two. I honestly feel like Chelo's position is superior at the moment. Like, it's going to be extremely hard for Nili to know exactly what's happening. He doesn't know that his opponent's booming. He could assume it, but he doesn't know. And the monks will have to get some nice value, of course. But then your monastery, your villager's just kind of stuck here. Your eco setup doesn't look like it's set up to be able to really go for siege as well. There are no holes for Nili, though. Really like Chelo's strategy here, as he absolutely needs to win this game. There's no doubt about it, because the way the draft is looking, Nili's got some really good civs for his home maps. So the way it's looking from my point of view, if we're talking optimal strategy, if Chelo wins this game, he's in an okay spot. He needs to win one game on Nili's home map, and then he needs to win his other home map. Blacksmith for Nili, because he forgot it. And you need the blacksmith before you can make a siege workshop. Does Chelo know about the monastery, though? He doesn't. Not knowing about that can sometimes be a problem, because then you commit too heavily onto knights, and then you find out there's monks after you already have... Oh, God. Yeah, after you already have quite a few knights out here. Now, Nili's going to try and eject his monk into that opening he made for himself, but maybe he doesn't trust it, and yeah, there he goes. And Chelo now realizes, oh shoot, he's forward on me here. I really need some scouts. He's not making scouts, so I just assumed he was thinking that. But for now, he's bracing himself for pressure. Okay, there's the light cab upgrade. So it will eventually be scouts and then light cab, I guess. And there Nili sees that his opponent has a monk as well. Again, Nili is on one town center here. And it's very likely that this woodline will be overchopped at some point. So hopefully Nili's paying attention to that. I can't actually click that tree, so I can't tell you. But if 2 vills are on it, it's soon. And Chelo's looping. Siege is coming out. Nili's going for pikes. He's got 4 spears, which will be 4 pikes soon. That's really helpful upgrade if you've got monks here. And again, Chelo's looping. Chelo knows that Nili is here. He might check the gold first. We don't know exactly where he'll go. We'll find out soon. Let's see if Chelo knows Khmer get redemption. You don't get redemption with Khmer every day, but that could be a nice move here. Okay, Nili's overchopped. Nili's overchopped. This could be a disaster for him. He's overchopped twice, actually. Has he? 3 times? No. He's looking on the front. And he gets the house wall down. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm pretty sure that he just happened to place the house there because he checked it. I don't even know if he saw the knights. Sorry to rewind. But, like, the timing on that was, like, ridiculous. I think you always check, right? You always check. And I think for him, he probably actions this house to be built before he sees the knight. Oh, my God. Maybe he did see the knights, but I just peed a little bit. Oh, my God. It freaked me out. Okay. So, 2 mangonels now for Nili. And now his push can live on. But again, Khmer could get redemption here to convert that siege. For now, it looks like he's going to use his own siege. And he needs to be careful here that he doesn't forget to repair this house here. And he's microing on the front still. He loses both his mangonels because he went home to repair. Chelo feeling pretty good, I think. But, Pikeman here, Lycav, dead. All right, so Nili's push lives on. Also, should mention, like, Chelo's kind of running out of space to expand. And knight numbers, pretty good for Nili. Nili is able to thwart the attack. And what a game. What a game. Wow, really high-pressure stuff there. Nili probably was repairing here and repairing here when he lost his mangonels. Really easy. I mean, this is part of why I said I would really struggle from Nili's position earlier, because they counterattack me once, I react to it, and then I lose all my siege in the front. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. And Chelo looking for more space to expand, but notice that is not towards the hill. And Nili's monks waiting here for multiple conversions. He's going to get 1. He's going to get 2 conversions. He's now got 9 knights. So it becomes really difficult for Chelo to do damage to Nili right now because Nili's got so many knights. And everything that Chelo is kind of built up towards here is all defense, right? It's just Lycav. It's just the Mangonel. This is a market you place when you are struggling for balance. But we see monks from Chelo, and Chelo could get conversions too. He doesn't get the conversions. He also does not have Sanctity. So he could lose his monks to the Mangonel. He loses 1 monk. He loses the knights in the process. He'll lose his Lycav in the process. I think Chelo is kind of falling apart here, guys. He also used all of his monk juice there. He used all of his faith. And Nili recognizes that. So Nili will go in to kill the rest of the monks as well. And for Nili, he could think about a second town center now. And for Nili, he can finally breathe. And Chelo finds himself with a Vil lead, but he just doesn't have map control. This is the problem without taking map control. I think had he honestly scouted the monastery and played into Lycav initially, just something a bit more offensive, maybe it could have worked out. But Nili's done such a good job holding this position. And he's not going to leave anytime soon. Like, how are you supposed to engage against all this stuff? There's monks all the time. There's knights all the time. There's pikemen too. Nili actually is going to TC over here right now. Interesting location, but it gives him more wood and it gives him more gold. Welcome to Kilimanjaro. That TC kind of sucks. Anywhere else. Wonder if Nili will consider monk upgrades where he can convert enemy monks or consider redemption himself here. Chelo wants the 3rd TC. But he's surrounded, and there's nothing really to be town-centered here. I like his Lycav commitment, though. I like that he's on 2 stables. What he will basically have to do is he will have to try and find, key moments like this. Nice pick off there. And then sometimes players will loop back to the monastery with the Lycav. Go there with the Lycav as he kills a monk. And if you're there with the Lycav, you could pick off each monk as they are created. Now, Nili's going to find this TC. Nili, here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you know this, but Nili has a problem. And I don't know if he's seen a medical professional for this problem. He's addicted to relics. He will... I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think it's an underrated thing in our game. But Nili will go for relics in situations where it doesn't call for it. In this case, it does call for it. And him going to find a relic is actually quite good for him here because he's going to find Chelo's TC. And Chelo is going to... He might not complete this TC. And meanwhile, Chelo trying to engage against the monks and the siege. Oh, he's getting melted everywhere. Everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. 7-1 eco KD. Chelo's still somehow ahead in villagers, though. Just because he's created so many. And Nili. Okay. Kills 2 monks. Ooh, also, I missed this. Chelo got in over here. God, what a messy game. Dude, this is so good. Guys, the food eco is insane for Chelo. Chelo can still do this. It becomes really hard to control the game at this point when there's random Lycav running in all the time and Nili kills his own mangonel. Not one for the highlights, but Chelo's gonna love that, and Chelo kills the monk as well. So yeah, you've got the pikeman if you're Nili, but you're just gonna be consistently outrun. And the idle time in this TC is insane. The idle time here is insane. And Lycav have found another opening. Chelo has turned it up like 16 different levels here. And he's really starting to pull ahead. 3 TCs pumping. Farm eco is looking good. Now, can he dislodge Nili from this position? Looks like he did. Looks like he actually killed 2 mangonels there. That's beautiful. If he can clear this up because of the distractions, it could be awesome. But Nili has taken damage because Chelo has avoided his army. Nello has not killed his army. Nello has not dealt with the army, right? So there's a lot of it out there. And Nili's going to have to gather his forces here. I think Nili is feeling like Chelo has more than he really does at the moment. Look how many units Nili has at home because of that raid. Oh my god. And look at the market from Chelo. Guys, where do you drop your castle if you're Chelo? What do you even do with this stone? What's his plan? I'm actually kind of nervous right now. This is a ridiculous game. I love Kilimanjaro. Did I say Nello? I did say Nello, actually. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. Earlier, the sad thing is I said Chili. I don't know what it is with this name combination. Listen, my defense, okay? In my defense, this series has been an admin nightmare, all right? And it has already fried my brain before we started. So I'm glad things are flowing. Don't expect the commentary to be good. Nello and Chili sounds better. Honestly, they should change their names. And Chili is killing and losing villagers at the same time. It's a collected effort. Nili here. Nili's killing so much. Chelo's got a big eco lead. But he doesn't notice. He's simply looking here right now. The main push. God, the multitasking here is just crazy. And Nili converts a mangonel. So now he's got 4. Now he could actually have a considerable push against the main area of Chelo's economy. And Chelo did notice that this situation, but he also will have seen the dead bodies. So that's not going to have him. That's not going to make him feel very good. I think Nili honestly could just raid everything with knights now. He has enough knights. The siege and the monks and the pikes is great. But you've got 12 knights. Your opponent has 2 monks. Chelo is making a trade cart somewhere. He's making a trade cart. I don't know what hotkey it is, but I actually have a conflicting hotkey where sometimes when I try and go to the market, in brutal moments, I too will create a trade cart. It must be classic hotkeys. I should have fixed it, but I didn't. Chelo he canceled the trade cart, but he's getting destroyed now. And it's been the control from Nili, the raiding in multiple locations that is eventually just caught up with Chelo. And Chelo he ran out of army to be able to really do the same himself. He's going to try here. Like, this keeps him in the game if he can kill these villagers. But he still needs a good position to stabilize, and he needs to place a castle somewhere that could be of value to him. And it would have to be, like, I don't know where it would be, honestly. Nili does react. Nili's killed 36 villagers in this game. And he's still got really good knight numbers. And wow, what a back and forth game. This is why a lot of players in the upper leagues banned this map, because it's so easy for things to go wrong. And it looked good for Nili, then it looked bad for Nili, and now it's looking good for Nili again. But I mean, Chelo's trying to go crossbow right now. I don't think crossbowmen against the siege push is going to be that answer for you. Villagers are going down here. He now has given up on the idea of a castle, so he sold it so he could buy resources to make other things. An understandable feeling, I think, but he won't be able to kill Nili in the middle here. And Chelo is looking frazzled. 72 villagers, so Nili's now past him. Nili's up towards 80. And, I mean, if Nili were to put these units on attack stance, he'd kill more. But the idle time is just ridiculous for Chelo. GG. Nili up 2-0 will be a very difficult road for Chelo now because of the preparation from Nili for his home maps. Nili has chosen his top 2 civilizations for his 2 home maps, which we have yet to play. It is doable, however, for Chelo. That game was so crazy, though. I think the initial strategy from Chelo was good. I think that the knights that he created, honestly, didn't end up bringing too much to him. Nili just went into monks. Nili just went into pikes. And anytime Chelo showed up with knights, he either lost the knights to conversions or they couldn't engage. And on one hand, you know, you could say maybe make other units. On the other hand, maybe say a little bit more aggression is needed in feudal. Sure, he needed to just see the monastery. But why didn't he see the monastery? Well, because the strategy was to sit behind walls. And he just missed it. That's part of the game. Nili, very happy to have Portuguese there, I'm sure. He was making tons of gold units. The siege, the monks, the knights. The pikeman edition was really good as well. And Nili didn't actually collect as many resources in that game. But obviously, he would have collected more over time. I think, actually, what would have been really good for Chelo was to go for pikemen of his own. He had tons of food, and light cav were working good. I think going for his own pikes would have maybe been decent. Always feels a little bit awkward when you are going up against siege, though, so I can understand not wanting to do that. The other thing is, it's possible, had he run this way, instead of to the south, where there's no wood here, he might have actually been able to have a better economy, because Nili was able to get some valuable damage down there. I don't think Nili had vision on this area the whole time. That outpost was not up. Like, let's look at the vision. When he goes to the south, okay, when he's going here, Nili has no vision over on this side. So even a TC here for more wood, like I think this direction would have been better for Chelo. But again, lack of scouting, right? He didn't have scouting on it. And had he had scouting, I'm sure he would have made a better decision. All right, game 3. Chelo's going to have to pull out all the stops to win the series. Now, what he could have done is he could have gone for his home map, which was, Cross. And he could go for his number 1 pick, which is Japanese. And he could go for the momentum. He could use his very good civ, his best civ remaining, and get a win and make it 2-1. But I've talked about this before. Some players say, I don't care if I get 3-0'd. I don't care if I lose 3-1 or 3-2. A loss is a loss, and a win is a win, right, in terms of the series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself my best chance at winning that 5th game if we get there. So he says, okay, we go Nili's home maps. I'm going with a weaker civilization, and he's gone for the Vietnamese here. Overall, I like the Vietnamese on Regicide Fortress. I don't think they're a bad civilization. I do still feel as though the Bengalis are superior economically. But in terms of the units, Vietnamese are better. Rats and archers, elephants, all that stuff is really, really strong. But, I mean, Bengalis get extra villagers when they arrive to each age from their TCs. And Bengalis have really strong monks, really decent options. And so I do give the edge to Nili there. But just in case Chelo loses this game and then someone says, well, what type of guy doesn't play his number 1 civ on his home map? The thinking there, I just want to explain that, is just that, well, why win game 3 if you're just going to end up being completely outmatched in game 4 and game 5? He almost wants to face the tougher task now. That way the pressure could really be on Nili later. King for Nili and Chelo, scouting the right-hand side. This is Regicide, so if you think this is really bad, maybe you could try and go for a king snipe. Castles are always on the front of your base. So when the players locate each other's bases, they should have an idea that the castle should be somewhere near there. Did the Vietnamese have a recent buff from June? Yeah, they received a buff where their eco upgrades research faster now. Before, it was their eco upgrades didn't cost wood. And now it's their eco upgrades don't cost wood, and they also research faster. So I had heard about that. It was proposed prior to them implementing it. I actually voted against it because I feel like Vietnamese eco upgrades not costing wood isn't figured out yet. It's underrated. Vietnamese can be figured out more, but the devs wanted to push them over the edge a little bit more. And having tested it, I mean, again, I think Vietnamese were already really strong before. It has definitely made them better. Be very helpful. Kings rarely run into the castle fire. But I did once play a game with Regicide Fortress where I ran into the castle fire of the enemy. And then my king ended up getting back home, and I ended up winning the game. But it's rare, especially on this version, because you know where that the castle is going to be on the front. So let me explain what happened, because it's more complex than what I said, and we have nothing else to really touch on right now. So what happened was I was scouting with my king like this, okay? And when you're scouting, you're usually setting waypoints. So, you know, when I scout this, so I go bam, 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 set waypoints, okay? So let's say, oh, God, oh, God, scout is faster than the king. Nili, king. Oh, God, I mean, maybe there was a chance he could have killed that thing. Okay, anyways, that was something else. So let's just say, you know, my king is here, okay, and I'm red, all right? And I set waypoints, boom, 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 okay? Back here. So what happened was I was scouting with my king for too long, like an idiot, okay? It wasn't that long, but it was a bit long. And there was a choke point about this size. And my opponent, Lix, was house walling there. So when I'd set the waypoints, I told him to go back here. It became house walled. And the only way that the king was able to get back there was to go here. So it pathed to the, you know, from the area that it was tasked from, along the walls, and I wasn't paying attention, and it got hit by one volley, but it ended up going down to like half HP. So yeah, interesting, right? And yeah, thank you for the reminder. It did happen to Mihai last season. Mihai lost a game by running his king into a castle, so. All right, so again, we talked about the Bengali eco, right? They get the additional villagers. So Nili has that already. Nili will see Chelo's adding scouts here. So Chelo going to go for some stable control to try and contest for the relics here. When I play against Bengalis on closed maps, I kind of feel like I'm... Oh, no! Kind of feel like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. The scouts are in. This could actually be a nightmare for Nili, but no, Chelo. Oh, disaster for Chelo. Oh. Well, if he kills Vils, it might actually be worth it. But they're so weak now. Nili, he'll be okay with losing a Vil here to trade off 2 scouts. Because the scout investment actually delays your town centers more than losing a villager or something would, right? Yeah, I think this is the correct decision from Nili. I think he was probably just going to drop the town centers before a monastery anyways. But now that he knows his opponent is on scouts, you already have a villager lead. Your opponent adding scouts delays their town centers. So you should just further that villager lead by going immediately for the boom. And I like the TC locations. I also do like how Chelo is at least keeping Nili's scout at home right now. That's good. Which civ do you prefer in post-imp? So, I think I actually prefer Bengalis because of the elephant archers, because of my Hayana. And they have, like, pretty good trash techs. But both civilizations can be really hard to stop. Yeah, this is gonna be really tough for Chelo from here. I'm surprised he picked... I'm really surprised he picked Vietnamese. Strategically, I don't love it. He had Britons available, and he had Bohemians available, which I thought were good on closed maps. And I felt Bohemians would make sense for Arena. Or Britons, right? But I prefer Britons here because you could at least get the town centers up right away because your TCs are cheap with the Britons. Nili's probably going to have about a 10 villager lead. And, you know, from there, we'll see what unit he makes. That's always the big thing with the Bengalis. Not really knowing what unit to make. Why does Cello have 50 stone? Well, he has 50 stone because he forgot that on Regicide Fortress you start with 150. And he forgot to collect the additional stone. So another thing showing me that maybe the build wasn't quite there where it needed to be. Regicide resources on Fortress. It's 0 gold. So you can't even research Loom if you want to. At the start anyways. And then it is 150 stone. Very confusing for most viewers because for whatever freaking reason, and I'm still pushing that they change this, but even though the only way Fortress has ever been played within the Age of Empires history has been Regicide Fortress, dating all the way back to early 2000s, the devs just have Fortress. And Regicide adds a king, but Regicide also does affect the resources slightly. I think it would be dope. And it would produce some really fun games. From low-elo to mid-elo to teen games. If the Regicide in the game was Regicide Fortress. But maybe I'm just too much of an old fart. What do you guys think? Thoughts on that? I think it'd be good. I would even compromise and say maybe they could put it in the rotation way less. Nili using the starting scout here. Actually kills a monk as well. That's really good. Yeah, the other thing about the Regicide start is it gives you more resources to work with. And when it comes to food, which actually seems to flow better. If it's not Regicide resources on Fortress, it always feels a little off. Yeah, Regicide would be cool, man. It'd be cool. So, anyways, I have a map script. So I've been working on it. I made the map script, okay? I caked the Regicide game mode, and I caked the king into the map. It's all ready to go. I'm going to give it to the devs and say, hey, if X, Y, or Z was your concern on this, that, or the other, it's fixed. It's all on the map. This is good. I'm going to give them, I'm just going to say here. And I'm going to see if that helps. Maybe I should be telling you this, because, like, if they didn't do it, they may be like, we don't want to act like T90 pressured us into this. But I think it'd be awesome, man. Yeah, I agree that maps in general in the ranked could maybe be spiced up a little bit more as well. Okay, so Bengali monks have lots of armor. They're very strong. Nili wants to convert that scout. And Cello has to run away. He was trying to deny this relic from Nili. The big thing we spoke of, though, is the eco. I think if anything, a player who's going to have the better economy already may consider to go relics in most cases at the highest level. But having the weaker eco and going for relics, I think that's going to lead to you falling behind and dying in early Imperial Age more often than not. You definitely have to catch up. And Cello seemingly accepting here that he's going to have the worst economy. And he's going to try and click up to Imp off 2 TCs here. I think this is going to be brutal for him to compete. But and maybe that's the only way he can compete from this stage. To say, sure, I've got lower economy, but I have to have better units, and my unit is Rats and Archer. What's Nili's unit going to be? We'll have a relic. And he's going to go for another town center. Now, he's ahead by 22 vills. He will get plus 2 vills out of each of the town centers that he has when he arrives to the next stage. So he's going to close in on double the economy from Cello. And I love Rats and Archers, but they're subpar if they're not elite. And I feel like you need a better economy to be able to afford elite. You absolutely need a better economy to be able to afford elite. But maybe, enough of them with a few upgrades into trebuchets could be good. And that's why he's walking forward for a castle. Nili is being... here's the flip side of this. I've been saying we know Nili's going to have the Vill lead. Billy, you should know that too. Why are we making so many of them without army? And what is the army going to be right now? This guy's going for pikemen at the moment. I think chemistry is needed. I think both players are going to need Trebs and bombard cannons. Bengalis get bombard cannon, right? Can you guys remind me? I feel like that's something I should remember. Chelogod got 4 relics. I'd love to see him prove me wrong here and start, you know, some momentum for himself with the Vietnamese. Remember the king. The king for Nili's in the tower. The king for Chelo's in the tower. Very common because players don't want to put it in their castles and accidentally send their king forward. Yeah, this build, David, would be good if not up against the Bengalis. Or, like, it would be good if not up against Bengalis, Chinese, Burgundians. It's just, this is a build order that doesn't match up too nicely against the Bengalis on paper. But this game isn't paper, guys. Execution, we can assume various things at execution, but that's not always going to happen. It's especially not going to happen here in silver. I love my silver bros, but you are merely 49th to 110th in the world, silver players. And so, you know, we could see some mistakes. Maybe. Here's something that sucks, though. Vietnamese have, I think, the weakest castles in the game. They don't even get masonry. So you're going Treb War with... I mean, we already knew it would be rough economically, but... yeah, now he's getting his ranged upgrades to make his Ratans stronger, but what do you want to produce Ratans with? You want a castle. Paper money's in the game. True, true. On paper, Vietnamese are better. Paper money and paper castles for Vietnamese. That's good. Yeah, hoardings is not affordable here. Nili has not needed much beyond trebuchets just to hold from this thus far, and this gives him time to build up towards anything he wants at this point. He could go pikemen against archers. He would lose a lot of units, but he could probably still get away with it from here. And yeah, Nili got masonry pretty early on. And this should be over. An unfortunate, frustrating situation, I'm sure, for Chelo. But he was the underdog in the previous set. Beat some stinking caster. He was the underdog in this set. And caster seems to be putting his knowledge to good use. Bombard cannon's nice. Nili does have redemption on the way, though, so he's definitely thinking about converting any potential bombard cannons that may come out here. And he's also going to be going for skirms. Just either one. I think monks and skirms, and he ends up holding and pushing back just fine. How valuable do you think the free conscription is for Vietnamese? I think it can be it's a very nice situational bonus. It's actually a perfect example of bonuses that I like. It's a bonus that's not, like, very obvious all the time, but is indeed very helpful and very nice to have. I think it would be more valuable if conscription cost was increased, which I think, because conscription is so valuable, that the cost of it is too low. But I actually wouldn't like Vietnamese to get free conscription if they were to increase the cost of it now, because they've buffed Vietnamese again recently. Monk hoping to convert. We've got bombard cannons. We've got Ratans. We've got Trebs. And we've got Nili finally going to send the skirmishers out. I don't even know where they are. They're here. And like we said, the skirms will probably be enough. Cello could try for a king snipe, but he would have to somehow get into the back of Nili's base without Nili spotting him, so... The Age of Empires 2 food chain is something else, Adam. It just shows, even when we're not talking about the biggest of names, that it really does matter who shows up on any given day, right? I mean, Nili's really being lackadaisical here. Like, he doesn't even have armor yet. But does he need armor? Nah. He's at 154 vills right now. He just needs numbers. I think if you have Bohemians or if you have Britons here, you give yourself a much greater chance of success. Economically, you'd be in a better spot. your ability to push with either bomber cannons or really long-range, like good trebuchets and long-range archers would be superior. So while I think it would have been difficult for Cello to get the job done in this series after losing game 2 and the way the draft looked, he didn't do the best at giving himself a chance by picking Vietnamese here. And even more so, I don't think getting the relics matters. I think getting the relics delays your boom significantly when you're already going to have a significantly delayed boom. But very easy on a closed map for me to talk about this like it was a foregone conclusion. Nili getting the job done as he needs to. And he's going to try and convert to some bomber cannons, which he will fail to convert. But the skirmishers are finding the kills. And skirmishers could find bomber cannon kills as well, possibly. That's funny. Someone was playing with Vietnamese as their favorite civ, and they thought they didn't get conscription. No, all civs get conscription. It's funny, though, that you were angry that they didn't get it, and the whole time you were getting it for free. Or getting it instantly. Nili's got 35 idols? Well, he's fine. He's looking at the front, and he has way more vills, right? If Nili throws this game, I'll shave my head. I'll go bald. There's no way. Actually... I take that back. I take that back. There's no way he throws this game, right? There's no way. Really late with like numbers of skirms earlier. Very late with armor on the skirms. Ooh. He's going to make a siege workshop here. He's got good gold control there. He's castling here. Yeah, never mind. I'm still happy with the whole shave my head comment. Look at the food count for Cello. He's all in on wood and gold, which is just bomber cannons and rats and archers. Send a message to Nili. Yeah, go ahead, try. He's not going to get your message. I tried everything I could earlier to get a hold of him when they were playing the game without spectators on. If Cello ends up coming back, of course, they will already be in game number 4 because we've had to switch some things around. But otherwise, he's chilling. He might actually be watching. Rewatching, I don't know. Ooh, Nili could see the flag. You might want to have a little bit of fun with that. He's also going to make armored elephants at random up here. Nili, kill the king, dude. Kill the king. Come on, man. Make some Rathas and then make an elephant and go in and kill that king. There's actually a rats and archer in that tower as well, which is kind of random. Don't get why Nili's so slow on army and finishing the game. Yeah, it's definitely taken some time, but I think at this point he's reached the mode where he feels like he can do no wrong, so he's paying more attention to the side things than anything else. Like, essentially, he's in a position where he's holding here as he's going to disrupt the sides. The monks will convert any cannons that come in, and his trebs are just trebbing on Cello's treb. And Cello's honestly probably feeling thoughts of, like, just kill me already. And Cello notices this. And Cello loses a cannon to the conversion. Well played there from Nili. We will have armored elephants. We'll have skirms on the side. The Ratsens, we're never going to get to be elite this game. There's never going to be a reality. I think it was always... It's really ambitious against that Bengali eco. King's moving for Cello, or at least the rally point was set somewhere, but the Ratsen and the king went to different areas. And Nili's got light cav rating. And Nili's going to ram down this. And that allows Nili, obviously, to have more success in the middle. I don't think Cello notices this. And frustrating way for Cello to go out. But again, he played really well. He impressed me in his performance in this in TTL Silver. Only 11 players, which is actually a lot more than we initially planned, but that's just how things panned out with players moving up and down. Only 11 players get to go up to gold. And all of those players are then going to be favored to get relegated out of gold. That's just how good the gold competition is. For him right now, I imagine he's just kind of staring at his screen, thinking he can do more. I know that feeling all too well. You had more strategies to show. You feel you could have played better. And, well, people don't get to see that. People just get to see this. King could go down. And Nili has already won this game. I think he should just go for the king. This is the cherry on top here. Jello's at 100 pop. He's got nothing else, so. And, oh, kill the king! Kill the king! Kill it! He doesn't see it. He does see it. He saw it. Okay, Chelo, resign right before it dies. Right now. That's the ultimate way to finish this. Nili's going to get the king kill, and he wins the series. He saw it, but I mean, what else would... How could he miss it? There's nothing else. There's nothing else from Cello. Cello's completely toast at this point. Well, so Nili will move on. That is actually our last round 3 set, guys. And Nili will move on to face Uzi. And that will be a banger of a series. I will be casting that whenever that ends up happening. So I'm going to have to confirm that that was actually the last of all the sets in round 3, but I believe it was. I was hoping for the set to be a little bit closer. For those that have tried to follow everything live, the structure was all over the place due to various issues we had with servers and spectating and whatever else. But of all the possible issues we could have faced, we faced them all in the same series. So that means the rest of all of Titans League is going to be perfect. That's the way I see it. Just got all of our bad luck out of the way. Resources collected. Nearly collected way more. We know that, and obviously it took a great deal of time for him to finish it off. But he did kill a king, which adds to quite the number of king kills we've actually seen in Titans League Silver. I think from what I know of, there were 5 king kills in all of Silver thus far, which is insane to me. Like, finally, after years and years of screaming for people to focus on kings, they're actually doing it. But I haven't even fact-checked that. It's just, like, the amount that I know of. Okay. Oh, yeah, and I get to keep my hair, which is the most important thing. Let's go, baby.